New York City never truly slept. Even on a gray winter morning, the streets buzzed with horns, hurried footsteps, and the low hum of ambition. Outside an upscale cafe on Fifth Avenue, 9-year-old Lily sat curled beside a marble pillar, hugging her thin jacket close to her chest. Her hair was tangled, her shoes were worn through at the soles, and her stomach ached with the familiar pain of hunger. She wasn't invisible by choice. She'd learned that being quiet brought more coins than being loud. Inside the cafe, warmth and luxury painted a different world. Soft jazz played while well-dressed customers sipped artisan coffee and scrolled through their phones. At a corner table sat Michael Carter, one of the richest businessmen in America. His face appeared calm, but his mind was a battlefield of meetings, markets, and numbers that could change lives or destroy them overnight. His phone buzzed relentlessly, and he barely looked up when the waiter approached. "Your sandwich, sir," the waiter said politely, placing a plate in front of him. Michael nodded without thanks, still typing an email worth millions. Only when the waiter left did he glance at the food: perfect bread, fresh greens, premium meat. It was the kind of meal that cost more than Lily usually earned in a week. Lily watched through the cafe's glass window, her eyes sharp despite exhaustion. She had been near the back door earlier, hoping for leftovers, when she saw something odd. A tray slipped from a worker's hands. The sandwich fell. There was a moment of panic, a glance around, and then, something worse. Lily didn't fully understand it, but she knew it wasn't right. Experience had taught her one rule: if something feels wrong, it usually is. As Michael lifted the sandwich toward his mouth, Lily's heart began to race. She stood up suddenly, ignoring the cold biting her legs, and rushed to the window. "Don't eat that," she shouted. The cafe fell silent. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. Michael froze, sandwich inches from his mouth. At first, irritation flashed across his face. A beggar child screaming at him. He lowered the sandwich slowly and looked toward the window. Lily stood there trembling, one hand pressed against the glass, fear written clearly on her face. Security moved immediately toward the door. "Get her away," Michael said instinctively, already regretting the disturbance. But then Lily spoke again, her voice cracking. "Please, sir, it's bad. I saw what they did." Something in her tone cut through Michael's impatience. This wasn't a child begging for money. This was fear, raw and genuine. He looked at the sandwich again, then at Lily's wide eyes. For the first time that morning, his phone slipped from his hand and remained ignored on the table. "Wait," Michael said quietly, stopping security mid-step. Lily swallowed hard, unsure if she was about to be chased away or punished. But she knew one thing with certainty: if he ate that sandwich, something terrible would happen. The cafe remained unusually quiet as Michael Carter slowly stood up from his seat. The security guard hesitated, frozen between orders and curiosity. Michael raised a hand, signaling everyone to wait. "Bring the manager," he said calmly, but there was an edge in his voice that made people listen. The manager arrived within seconds, straightening his tie nervously. Michael pointed toward the untouched sandwich. "I want to see the kitchen footage. Now." Confusion spread across the manager's face, but he obeyed. In a private office, screens flickered to life, replaying moments from the busy kitchen. As the footage rewound, the truth unfolded. A cook slipped. The sandwich hit the floor. A brief argument followed. Instead of throwing it away, someone tried to fix the mistake by quickly replacing part of it, ignoring what had already been contaminated. Worse still, a spoiled ingredient, meant to be discarded, was used to save time. The manager's face turned pale. Michael said nothing. He stood silently, watching until the end, his jaw tightening. Slowly, he turned and walked back into the cafe. In front of everyone, he pushed the plate away. "Close this place for the day," he said firmly. "Health inspectors will be here within the hour." Then, to everyone's surprise, he walked to the door and opened it himself. Lily flinched, ready to run. "It's okay," Michael said softly. "You can come in." She stepped inside hesitantly, the warmth fogging her vision after the cold. Her stomach growled loudly, and she looked down in embarrassment. Michael pulled out a chair and ordered hot soup, bread, and tea, fresh, sealed, and prepared in full view. As Lily ate, he listened. She spoke of sleeping in shelters when there was space, of watching people carefully to survive, of learning which places were safe and which weren't. She didn't complain. She simply explained, like it was normal. Michael felt something heavy settle in his chest. After contacting social services, he ensured Lily was placed in a proper shelter that very night. But he didn't stop there. He funded her education, arranged medical care, and visited her regularly, not as a billionaire, but as someone who cared. News of the incident spread quickly. The cafe lost its license. A citywide inspection followed, sparked by Michael's insistence. New food safety programs were funded, quietly but thoroughly. Weeks later, Michael stood outside an elementary school and watched Lily walk inside, clean, confident, and smiling, a backpack almost too big for her small frame. She turned, waved, and he waved back. For years, Michael had believed money protected him from everything. That day taught him otherwise. Sometimes, the most valuable warning doesn't come from advisors, executives, or experts, but from a hungry child brave enough to say, "Don't eat that."